Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel Aisha Shay Reads, and since it's a rainy, cold day, let's do my fall TBR. Okay, so I want to just go over all the things that I want to read in fall. I'm going to break it up into parts because I have a couple different genres. I have my horror, I have some dark academia, I have some romance, and then I have some like YA, like fall vibe books that I want to get to. So I'll go through each of the categories and show you all the books that I hope to get to this fall, and it'll probably still carry over into the winter months because I love all my fall, dark academia, fantasy, all of that in like fall and winter. So let's get started on my TBR. Okay, so the first books I want to talk about are my horror books. So the first one I have on my pile is going to be A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is I believe it's a vampire romance. It's about like Dracula, and he takes on a wife and he has other mistresses, and I guess her and the other mistresses start falling in love. And so this is kind of, I think it's just like an open kind of like relationship. So I'm excited to get to this. Anything like vampires, Dracula themed, I'm down for. And if it has a good romance, I'm really excited for this. And then the next horror book I have is going to be The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks. I don't know a whole lot about this because I want to go into it blind. I think with my horror, I tend to like it more when I don't know a lot about it, so I'm more surprised. If not, I find it sometimes it can be boring, but I'm excited to pick up this one because it's short, and I love short horror. Long horror, I've noticed, isn't my thing, but I'm excited to give this one a try. I've heard it's really creepy, so I'm excited to pick this up in October or November. The next one I have a book is another vampire, and it's Camilla. And this, I guess, is like the first vampire novel I've ever written. Everyone thinks it's Dracula, but I guess this came out before, and it's about a female vampire, I believe. So I want to get to this one. It's also short, so I'm kind of excited to see where vampires kind of came into like the picture. So I want to read this, and I'm also going to be reading Dracula throughout the winter. I forgot to grab off the shelf, but I want to read both of those because I want to see like the original works of like the vampires and stuff, and where we get like our modern day vampires. The next horror I want to pick up is going to be Goth. This is about a girl and her friend that are obsessed with serial killers, and there happens to be one in their small town. So they basically want to investigate this guy and find out who it is, but they don't want to stop him. They basically just want to see what makes him tick and all of this stuff. So I'm really excited to pick this up because I like crime and like serial killer documentaries and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how this is with like people that are like obsessed with that kind of stuff but take it to like the extreme. So I'm excited to pick this one up. I found it just randomly one day at Barnes & Noble, and I'm happy I did because I think this is going to be perfect for fall. The next one I have is going to be American Psycho by Brent Easton Ellis. This is the famous novel that the movie was based off of, and it's basically about Patrick Bateman, and he has some like mental issues and stuff like that. He lives in New York in the 80s and all this stuff, and he is a serial killer and he kills women and all this stuff, and he's like a businessman. And so I'm excited to pick up the book that inspired the movie because I absolutely love the movie, and so I'm excited to give this a try and see how I like it in book form. The next one I have is going to be Such Sharp Teeth. I'm not 100% sure what this is about, but I know it's like a horror like mystery kind of book, and so I kind of want to keep it that way. I don't want to know a whole lot about it, but the name and everything just drew me into this book, so I'm excited to pick this up, but not knowing anything about it because I want to go unsurprised and like find out for myself what this is all about. But once I read it, I'll definitely give you guys a more in-depth like review and stuff on this one. But this I figured would be good for fall. And then this one technically isn't horror. I believe it's more of like a thriller-esque book, but it is going to be Bright Young Women. This is, I believe it's like a thriller, but it's based on the true story of Ted Bundy when he went and murdered some young women at a sorority house in Florida. And I'm excited to pick this up. This is about like one of the sorority girls and how her not being there that night kind of like saved her life. And so I'm super excited to pick this up. I just heard about it recently, but true crime like fascinates me. It's kind of weird, so I'm excited to pick up like a novelization of that and see how it differs from like the real stories and the real accounts of that. But yeah, I'm excited to pick this up, and this cover is just beautiful for some reason. Like, I'm not normally a yellow fan, but this cover, it just makes me happy. So I really hope that I like this book so that I can display it on my shelves. Okay, so there are two dark academia books that I want to pick up this year. So the first is going to be We Are Villains by ML Rio. This is about a group of kids in college who are like drama literature majors, and something happens and someone dies, and it starts off with the investigator coming to one of the kids while he's in prison who's about to get out and wants to know what really happened all those years ago. So I love dark academia and like a mystery, like suspense kind of thing. So I'm excited to pick this up and see what this is all about. I've heard great reviews on it. A lot of people have really enjoyed it. And I couldn't help but like, I love this new cover. Like the original cover has like a skull and stuff on it, and I really love it. But I saw this one and I was like, there's something about this cover that I absolutely love. And so the second dark academia book that I want to get to is going to be The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I've heard a lot of good reviews and stuff about it. I don't know a whole lot, and I kind of want to go in blind. I know it's a dark academia college setting, and so I want to give this a try, see if I like it, see if it's something that I'm into, but I don't want to know a whole lot about it. So that is the last dark academia book that I want to get to. Okay, and then the next set of books that I have are YA books. The first one I want to pick up is Bring Me Your Midnight, and this is about covens of witches, and basically her whole life has been planned out for her. She's supposed to marry like a governor or something like that, and her coven, they release all their magic into the ocean, and she wasn't able to release hers in, and she ends up meeting, I believe his name is a boy named Wolf, and his coven practices in dark magic, and so they're kind of going on a journey together, learning magic and stuff like that. And so I'm excited to pick this one up. I don't know a whole lot about it. That's kind of like the gist of what I know, but it sounds pretty good, and I love witchy magical type settings, and I figured this would be like a fun fast read because it is YA. So I want to pick this one up because it just sounds really good. And then I have This Delicious Death, and this is a zombie-esque novel, and basically zombies live with us. They're normal people, and they basically, I think they have like synthetic flesh and stuff like that, but every once in a while people will go rogue and they will start eating people. And this is about these girls that are zombies, and they go to a music festival, and all this crazy stuff starts happening. Like the zombies just like start going crazy and attacking people and killing people. So this is like a murder aspect in this, in zombies. So I figured this would be pretty interesting. I haven't read a zombie book in a while or like watched any zombie content, so I'm curious to see how I'll like this and see if I still like zombies or not. And then the last YA book that I want to read is going to be Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This has been all over everywhere. Everyone says they really love it, and just by the name, I get like fall vibes. And this cover is just beautiful, and the inside is just like beautiful. Like I get all the spooky like Halloween vibes, and I have to read it. I don't know a whole lot about it. It says, orphan as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth and her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. Her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns, an eccentric family living at Thorns Grove, an estate both glittery and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns the loss of his wife through wild parties, while his son grapples for control of their family's waning reputation, and his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears, claiming she was poisoned, Signa realizes that the family she just depends on could be in grave danger, and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. So I just thought that would be like really fun for the fall, and it gives me like fall vibes, and so I'm excited to pick this one up. I also grabbed the second one just in case I love this one and want to start the other one right away, and Barnes & Noble had like a special edition of it, so I had to get both, and I'm excited to read this one. And I actually sprayed the edges to match the cover, and I love it. I love doing like art on my books and sprayed edges, so that's another like fun thing about this book. But that is all of the YA books. Okay, so the next group of books is going to be fantasy romance. The first one is Small Town Big Magic. This is about a girl, I believe she owns a bookstore, and one day a creature attacks her and she doesn't understand why, but I guess she failed a magical test and is stripped of all of her memories, and she finds out all of her friends and family are witches, and she just forgot all about it because she failed her magical test. And I guess there's like a farm boy like love interest, and I guess this is just a journey of her going on, finding her magic and all of that kind of stuff. And I love magic, love small town romance, all of that, so I thought this would be a fun one to pick up. The next one I found is Half a Soul, and I've seen this so much on YouTube recently. This is about a girl who was cursed by a fae, and I guess some like crazy stuff happens to her. So she's cursed, and suddenly her sudden connection with the least likely man in high society. So this is her exploring her curse and falling for someone in high society and stuff like that. And so that's kind of all I knew about this, picking it up. But I heard people love this, so I figured I'd give this a try this season as well. And then the last fantasy romance I have, I think it's a fantasy romance. It has romance aspects, but I wasn't quite sure which category to put this one in. But it is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, and this one, I saw the cover and I instantly had to buy it because I love skeletons, and Masters of Death just sounded crazy. And I guess this is about a vampire real estate agent that is trying to sell a house, but the house is haunted. So she enlists the help of the son of the devil, who says he can help her with that, but he's basically just like a fraud. So this is their story, and I guess it has a bunch of other characters in it, and so I'm excited to see a vampire and a haunting and crazy stuff just happening. And so I'm hoping I love this because I absolutely adore this book cover and the color. It just makes me so happy. So I'm excited to pick this one up and see what this one is all about. Okay, and the last couple books I have are going to be rom-coms. So the first one I have is Go Hex Yourself. This one says it's about Reggie, who answers an ad for a job. She's astonished to find that she is not really applying to work at her favorite card game, Spellcaster, the Spellcaster, the Magic King. Instead, she applies to be an actual familiar for an actual witch, as in real magic. And so she becomes the apprentice of this warlock, and the only problem she has is the warlock's nephew, and they don't quite get along. And so we'll get to see her exploring like romance and like the new world of magic that she never knew existed. And there's a cat on the cover that looks like my cat Blake, so now I'm even more interested in it. And it's Go Hex Yourself. Like witches, anything like that, you have me. Like I've looked at so many different rom-coms that have like witches and stuff just because I love witches. And so all these witchy rom-coms coming out make me really happy. And then for my last book, it is going to be When Life Gives You Vampires. And this is about a girl who one night has like a relationship with someone and like kissing and stuff like that, and I guess he turns her into a vampire, and he didn't mean to, and he's not really supposed to turn her into a vampire, but he accidentally did. So this is them navigating it and them trying to protect themselves against other vampires. So we'll get their romance, and I'm guessing a little bit of like suspense in it. But I also love vampires, like vampires, witches, anything Halloween. Like, this is my favorite time of year. So when you give me a book that says When Life Gives You Vampires, of course it's going to draw me in. And so I'm excited to see if I like this. Rom-coms normally aren't my favorite, but I figured like witchy, Halloweenish rom-coms will probably be my favorite if I do end up liking them. And I think that's all I have for my fall TBR. I probably won't get to all of those, or those are just some that I want to read in like the cool fall months, and so I'm excited to get to most of them. I'll definitely have vlogs and other videos once I do read them, so you'll kind of know what my thoughts are on them. But yeah, I plan to do another video like this for winter, which will have a ton of like fantasy books and stuff like that in it. So I think that's all I have for you guys today. Like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like any of these books or have read them, definitely let me know down below so I can hear your thoughts on them. But that's all for me, guys. Have a great day and happy reading.